For this week's practice challenge, we were challenged to answer 4 different questions on 2 different articles, both covering career planning. The 4 questions were: the first is, what is one insight from this week's content approaching your career that you strongly agree with? The second is, what is one insight from this week's content that you strongly disagree with or feel does not apply to you? The third is, what is one item that is on your top shelf of your priority shelf? The fourth is, what is one item on your bottom shelf of your priority shelf? To begin, I could not agree more with Tim Urban's article in Wait But Why, where he beautifully covered the concept of student versus society. We have not been instructed on how to manage others, but to be managed. Instead of focusing on practicality or status, he dove into who we are, what we want, and how to evolve with the world around us. He did this by giving us a framework on which to reimagine ourselves. He stated that all of us fall into a spectrum. At one end there is a chef who invents and reasons first by principles. The other is a cook who reasons by analogy. The chef cooks with raw material and is constantly creating and inventing. The cook, however, mimics or copies structures already been made. Everyone finds themselves in between these 2 spectrums. So who do you want to be, the creator or the copier? This will require finding areas in your life where you can identify mirroring versus inventing. Choosing who you want to be in your career is vital because it affects your quality of life. Your time, impact, and identity all hang in the balance. In the want versus reality box of what is available to you, there is an option pool. Figuring out what goes inside this box will require a deep analysis of who you are. This can become more clear through the analogy of an octopus that Marc likes to call your yearning octopus. On each tentacle of this octopus, you will find different categories of your life. This includes personal, practical, moral, lifestyle, and social. All at war with each other, arguing over what is best for you. Now it's time to go deep. What gave you drive before you were told what should drive you? What desires never went away? What did you believe before it became controversial? Where did your values lie? Once you start asking the question, why do you want what you want, you will uncover the basis of the mark you want to leave on this world. Unmask the frauds in your own head. Self-interrogate until there are no more questions and you are back to your origin. Now you can move each yearning tentacle into a hierarchy. This pyramid has a top, middle, and bottom shelf. The top of my shelf consists of gaining an experience with the Praxis program and compromising other things to achieve in an apprenticeship, and later on excel with a business partner. We have now finally landed in the career landscape. In today's society, the world is evolving so quickly. This means a continuation of new opportunity. Since the world is always advancing, we need to evolve with it, and at all costs avoid the trap of inertia. Marc had a very different approach than Tim. While Tim focused on self-actualization, Marc focused on practicality. He begins by stating, do not plan your career for it is limiting, and that the 2 things that will guarantee you success are developing skills and pursuing opportunities. This included action steps and a very competitive approach. He wrote, always pay attention to opportunity costs and never pass up on an open door. He goes on to state what degrees are useful and lists them in a rank. I agree with the quote by Scott Adams, who says if you want to be extraordinary, there are 2 steps. 1, become the best at one specific thing. And 2, become the top 25% of 2 or more things. This will make you extraordinary. He furthers his point with 3 must-have skills to achieve status in the workplace, including communication, sales, managing, and finance. And if possible, travel and gain more global awareness. If you want to expound in a company, go where all the action is. The most cutthroat piece of advice was found in his turnaround plan, where he insisted on throwing your predecessor under the bus once in a position to do so. Double down on the things doing well in the company and completely kill off what isn't. Also, lay off 1/3 of your workforce, relaunch the company with a more intelligible idea, and after about 6 months, do it all again. Always remembering to retain the best of your workforce, and at the top of your shelf should reflect winning and high stock price. If I had to disagree with any part of the 2 articles, that would probably be the part. Your workforce is your team, and you have to rely on the loyalty within the people to go further. Overall, I'm excited to implement the advice found in both articles and see where it takes me.